Coming up next on Public Access TV is Fan to Fan, a half-hour sports show with host Dave Hornfischer. In this episode, we'll talk Red Sox minor league baseball with Joe Bradlee, Vice President of Baseball Operations and Community Relations for the new Worcester Red Sox. Stay tuned. This is going to run fast and hit hard. Welcome to Fan, a sports interview show. I'm your host, Dave Hornfischer, and today I'm pleased to welcome back Joe Bradlee, Vice President of Baseball Operations and Community Relations for the Worcester Red Sox. Joe, welcome back. I'll give you the bump here. Not much has happened since you were here in February 2020, a little pandemic, and a new ballpark. Let's talk, I'm tired of talking about the pandemic. Let's talk about the new ballpark and everything else that's happened. And you've now become a vice president, and that's a long title.
It is a mouthful.
Tell me a little bit about what that encompasses.
Yeah, well, first off, Dave, thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me back. Certainly has a lot has happened since we were last here. The pandemic, you name it. We did lose about 5 to 6 weeks of construction there in the spring, but we made all of that up, and the ballpark is on track and ready to go, and we can't wait for the season to finally be here. And in my role as Vice President of Baseball Operations and Community Relations, I oversee all of our community outreach programs. We're launching a new Woosox Foundation, so I'm involved in that as well. And then on the baseball side, I'm certainly involved with the Polar Park project, and what I do in a typical season is to make sure me and several other of my teams make sure that all of the facilitation between Boston and the AAA affiliate and our AA affiliate in Portland, making sure that all that stuff goes smoothly. So working with the Red Sox player development staff, our manager, Billy McMillan, our PR director, Bill Wanless, who announces all those moves, to our clubhouse guys. There's all sorts of things that go on behind the scenes when players are going up to Boston or when we're receiving them from Portland. So we're looking forward to all of that in our brand new ballpark in Worcester.
So it sounds like you have to wear both spikes and roller skates.
Yeah.
That's a wide range of stuff, but it's probably a lot of fun, and you seem to strike me as a guy with a lot of energy. So let's talk about the construction of the park. When you were here before, it was kind of I wouldn't say pipe dream, but it was a dream, let's put. It was something that was going to be it was the heart of the city. A lot of that was being shown. Now look, now we've been constructing, or you've been constructing. And,
wow.
A big hunk of dirt with a wall, and oh my goodness, it's it always amazes me. You see these cranes digging, and it doesn't look like they're doing anything. And at the end of the day, something comes out of it. Talk a little bit about the construction.
Isn't it amazing? Just looking at those photos, it's amazing to see how far that the ballpark has come. In that aerial, you get a cool shot of the train station there on the left, and we've been told by our friends from the city that there's actually 33 trains that go by right through that station every day. So wow. You bet during games, fans are going to be able to get to see some trains.
And now we got a picture coming up here of was this getting closer to done?
Oh yeah,
look at that! Oh my goodness, that looks like a baseball park.
Right? Look at how far it's come. That's a beautiful aerial shot where you still see that train station that I just mentioned, but so much more of it has come to life. You see the field. We've got you notice that the monster is actually in right field, but we don't call it a monster. We're calling it the Worcester Wall.
The Woo Wall.
the Worcester Wall. Yeah.
The Worcester Wall.
It's 22 feet high, so not quite as high as the Green Monster in Fenway, which is 37
We've got
feet.
another little video coming up of some more of the park coming together.
Great.
Yeah.
That's
another what they can do from a drone.
Another great aerial. Yep, we've
seats
got
weren't in yet, but
a good team of drones. Yeah, that's right. Seats weren't quite in there, but you've got a great aerial of the ballpark.
Scoreboard, the wall, the Polar Park sign in the outfield, and the scoreboard.
Yep, and that video board is actually in now, and it looks it looks amazing. That's another great shot there. Now let's see, yeah, that looks like center field.
There's a left fielder in the corner, right?
Right now.
The tripod.
Yep. 406 to center, 391 to the power alley in left. Now we're going along the third base line. Yeah, these are some great shots, and as you can see, Dave, the park's really come a long way.
Looks like the seats are going to be real close to the field.
And we're really excited about
I imagine there's going to be a netting around there to keep you from getting hit with a line drive.
The netting is already up, and you mentioned the seating bowl. In all of Larry Lucchino's and Janet Marie Smith's ballparks, whether you're talking about Camden Yards, Petco Park, and Fenway as well, they've always been really known to push the boundaries as far as foul ground goes. You talked about fans being close to the action.
Right.
If you're sitting behind home plate at Polar Park, you're really going to be able to appreciate just how fast that 95-mile-per-hour fastball is coming in. And so when I say
a shot of this now with the seats in.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing about that seating bowl, Dave, is it's actually for anybody who's been to a Woosox game, our seating bowl at McCoy Stadium was actually closer to 10,000 seats in the seating bowl. In this seating bowl at Polar Park, you're going to have closer to 6,000 seats.
Really?
Now, why is it smaller? We're actually going with a smaller seating bowl and incorporating more unique neighborhoods within the ballpark, more group areas, more spaces for fans to get up and move around. We sort of feel that the days of fans who sit in their seats and score 9 innings every pitch are
like
slowly
me.
coming to an end. And we want fans to, if they have young kids, to go out in the outfield and run around with their kids, to get up and go check out some of the cool concession stands.
Is there like a burn area for grass seating and behind the outfield?
There will be,
remember that
yeah.
on the
So
plans?
similar to what we had in Pawtucket, actually, there will be a grass area in left, but there's also going to be a kid zone right outside the ballpark where fans can go and run around and for kids who might not be able to sit still for all 9 innings, that'll be a good place.
So this is really going to be an evening of entertainment as much as a ball game in many ways. And I think minor league baseball kind of has that because you don't quite get the sense of teams in the standings unless you're a season ticket holder maybe, and every game is kind of on its own as a night out. And I thought it sounds like you really bought that concept.
Exactly right. We want Polar Park to be a place where Worcester gathers as a community and comes together on a nightly basis. Sure, there's going to be plenty of baseball fans who care about how well the Woosox do, and we think that we're certainly going to have a lot of great prospects and bring a lot of excitement on the field. But we want to also have Polar Park be an exciting place for fans to come who don't necessarily care about what happens on the field.
I think we have some more pictures coming up here of the seats, and a guy like that's 6'4" like me often had a hard time sitting in sitting in the seats at Fenway. These look like they had some more room, but we were talking before about, I thought this was great. Is this going to be on the side of all the aisles, this emblem? Yeah,
that's a really cool touch that Janet Marie Smith and our design team put in. You're looking at the logo of the Worcester Worcesters. A lot of people don't know that Worcester actually...
That was before my time.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't know that Worcester actually used to be home to a major league team. And the Worcester Worcesters played in the National League from 1880 to 1882, and that was their logo. And so on every seat back, we've got that cool Worcester logo that are going to be on all of the seats at Polar Park, and we thought that was a really cool touch by Janet Marie and her team.
You got the Heart of the Commonwealth written on the side of it. I remember that from our previous show, the little song. You're going to play that song a lot at the park?
That's right, Heart of the Commonwealth. Yeah, you never know, but I'm sure that'll be on the playlist for sure.
But then just to wrap up the discussion on the park, we've got another picture here coming up here that I picked it out. That sort of symbolizes to me, I think after all you've done and what's going on, I think we're heading home, right?
That's a beautiful shot, and yeah, certainly a very recent shot as well. That Polar Park signage that you see above the video board, that actually just went in last week, and they did just a great job. We couldn't be more pleased with how it came out, and the video board is in now as well, and the heart-shaped light towers, Dave. You talked about the heart.
Yeah, right.
That was another idea that we actually got in a fan plan meeting. We had about 21 fan plan meetings in and around Worcester, and that was an idea that came out of one of those ideas where we were still in the design phase and thinking of cool things to include, and heart-shaped light towers was one that really stuck, and so that was another great shot that you just had there.
Well, we talked before when you were on about this really being an urban development thing for the city of Worcester and well, for the state in that respect. So that probably drove a lot of the creation of this and winning the bid from everybody, right? And
yeah, you bet, Dave. And it's great to see a lot of that development already taking place. Just right across the street from the ballpark, you're seeing biotech go in. There's going to be a hotel right across the street from the ballpark. I mentioned that 350-car parking garage, and all of the restaurants right there on Green Street in the Canal District. They certainly can't wait to have all those people.
Are these going to be new restaurants that are coming in?
No, I was more referencing just the fact how a lot of the restaurants that are already currently there, they're thrilled that 10,000 fans, we hope at some point, we'll see what happens with the state restrictions.
Well, sure.
We'll
it's going to take a while.
Spill out into the street and enjoy a night out after a ball game. But the Worcester Public Market has really come a long ways. If you've been to the Canal District recently, that's another great public market that's brand new and has really come together. So it really has been exciting to see some of that surrounding development take place.
Yeah, and it's going to be pretty easily to get there, right? From off of Interstate 290, 295, and the train station's not too far away either, is it?
Absolutely. One of the things that really attracted us about this site was just how accessible it is. Easy to get to from 495, from the Mass Pike, from 290, exit 13, boom, you're right in Kelly Square. And the train station, we are a 8-minute walk from Union Station in Worcester. So fans who are coming from Boston, Hartford, Springfield,
that train stops
wherever.
in Framingham.
Yeah, there you go.
Is this the Amtrak stop? Yeah, the Amtrak and the commuter rail.
And the commuter rail
there too.
And the commuter rail will take you right into Union Station.
I'm not sure there's going to be a commuter rail back to Framingham at 11 o'clock at night, though.
Yeah, we'll
have to work on that.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But in Pawtucket, if you wanted to take the train, most fans would go to Providence and then Uber to our ballpark. This is going to be a little bit more convenient since it's just a short walk to Polar Park from Union Station.
Sure.
So we're really excited about that as well.
And lots of parking. Well, you don't have to have parking for 40,000. So several thousand cars would probably be helpful, and good handicap parking. And
yes, exactly. And the city
of
Worcester,
park is obviously new. It's going to be very accessible, I'm sure.
Yeah, no question about it. And the city of Worcester has really been helpful in helping us identify some of those close parking lots that are closest to the ballpark. I mentioned the garage that's going in directly across the street from the ballpark, but there will be plenty of parking on a lot of the surrounding streets, a lot of the lots that are right by the ballpark, and we look forward to continuing to communicate that to fans so they know exactly where to go when they come see a Woosox game.
I keep looking at the pin on your coat there. It says Polar Park. Reminds me, we're probably going to see a lot of polar beverages there, right?
Oh yeah, a lot of
I have a
seltzer.
nephew that works for them distributing in Connecticut, so.
Oh, that's great.
He's very interested in this.
Yeah, no, that's exciting.
Well, we've spent the first half of this show talking about the park and the community. Let's just talk a little baseball here. We're talking here in mid-March, and the Red Sox are making some of their final spring training cuts, and let's talk about some of the players that we might see. I mean, I just saw the Red Sox did send away from the majors to their training complex two of the hot prospects that I'm really interested in seeing. Jaron Duran and Jeter Downs. We've got this is Jaron, I guess, here.
Yep.
This guy's really impressed me when the little bit that I've heard and read about him.
Yeah, and it's good that you bring up Duran, because we had Chaim Bloom come chat to some members of our Worcester Red Sox Booster Club recently, which is a free booster club, by the way. And he came on a Zoom chat. We were really happy to have him.
That was great. I heard it. Yeah.
And he was Duran was a guy who Bloom was really saying great things about. So we'll definitely be excited to see him play. We got to see a lot of him last summer in Pawtucket at the alternate training site, and even though they're only scrimmaging against each other and practicing against each other, he was a guy that really looked great. And again, Bloom is really excited about him.
Speed, another Jacoby Ellsbury, maybe.
Yeah, really fast. He can run.
10 years from now, I'll be playing with the Yankees.
We hope not.
I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of the Yankees, how about Jeter Downs? What a great name for a Red Sox.
Yeah.
Here he is.
Yeah, there's Jeter. He was one of the guys who we acquired in that Mookie Betts trade, and another guy that we got to see a lot of in Pawtucket last summer during the alternate site. He's had a good spring training. He can definitely really hit, and who knows? Maybe we'll get to see him in a Woosox uniform. Our roster's still coming together, but
there's a fine balance between the Red Sox, Worcester, and the Portland team, which sometimes has a lot of the younger guys that are developing. And that's a nice take too, was to go up to Portland. I did that a couple of years ago. Saw Benintendi and Moncada when he was still a Red Sox there. But and as far as the Red Sox goes, the shuttle between Pawtucket and Boston has been frequent. And there's probably 2 or 3 guys who might very well start at Pawtucket or maybe be back and forth who were with the Red Sox last year. We got 2 or 3 of them coming up here. Michael Chavis being Chavis, I guess it is, being the first one. Hits a lot of home runs, and he had a great start.
Yeah, Chavis sure does have a ton of power. In the brief time that he was in Pawtucket, he hit some absolute moonshots at McCoy Stadium. We had season ticket holders who would come up to us and say, geez, these are some of the farthest home runs that we've ever seen. And we didn't really see him last year at the alternate site in Pawtucket. He was with the Major League Club for the majority of the season, but he's another guy who I think they all feel still has a lot of room to grow and is going to be a major contributor going forward.
Then you got another young guy who they kept all year last year, Jerry Remy's favorite name to pronounce, Jonathan Arauz. Yeah. There he is.
Yeah, there's Arauz, our former broadcaster, Will Fleming, who is now the current Red Sox radio broadcaster. If you tune into some games, that's another name that he certainly has a lot of fun pronouncing, but definitely a versatile infielder who, again, spent the majority of the season in Boston last year, and a guy who can do a lot of different things with the glove in particular.
And then last but not least, in the ex-Red Sox bunch, we got Tanner Houck, who came up and was really impressive at the end of the year last year.
Oof, yeah, we all love Tanner Houck.
Didn't he beat the Yankees? I think he did.
He sure did.
Yeah.
He sure did. And for us to see firsthand all the work that he was putting in at the alternate site all summer long, to see him go up and do what he did and win a few games and immediately contribute. And don't forget, those games were important games for the Yankees. They needed those wins. And for the Red Sox, even though they were well out of the playoff hunt at that point, to go up and see Tanner strike out guys like Aaron Judge and just have an unbelievable outing.
He just looks like he has an attitude in this picture. I'm not sure I'd want him throwing 100 miles, 80 miles, 90 miles an hour at me.
But yeah, no, Tanner's actually a really great guy. He's very charitable. He's always done a lot for us in the community as well. And so he's a guy that you certainly root for.
Then deeper down and kind of newcomers, I think, is this next guy coming up that I'm pretty excited about as a first baseman, Tristan Casas?
Casas, yeah. And Dave, he was another guy that actually was with us at the alternate site in Pawtucket last year. And I know, you talk about a big lefty with a lot of power. I know that he's another guy that everybody in player development is really high on. So we'll be keeping an eye on him this year. We'll see how his development goes, and maybe we'll get to see him in a Woosox uniform in the not
He
not so
could be
distant
at Portland maybe
future.
for a while, or
Yeah,
well, you never
he
know.
could be.
I guess.
He
That's
could be.
That's the little bust between those two, and with $4.95, that's going to be an easy commute too.
Yeah, it's not going to be too bad.
It's not like I remember a few years ago, the Mets had their farm team in Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas, yeah. Nobody wants to get called up from Las Vegas to New York. I think all of our guys are going to.
And then last but not least in my list here was Jay Groom, who's a lefty pitcher. I saw him pitch in a spring training game the other day. I think he had a perfect inning. And
yep, big lefty, another first round pick who we got to see a lot of at the alternate site. He's still coming along. We'll see where and when if he ends up in Worcester and we get to see him in a Woosox uniform. But a lot of people sort of compare him to Lester, big lefty, and it reminds a lot of people of a guy like John Lester. So we'll see whenever we get to have him in Worcester. We'll be sure to watch him closely.
So those were my favorite 7. Are there any I missed, or one or two that you might want to add in here? That
I think Bobby Dahlbeck is another guy.
Isn't he going to be at Fenway all year?
He will be, but he was we'll see what happens. But he was another guy who, similar to Tanner Houck, really, after starting off at the alternate site, he was another player who we were just really excited to go see make an immediate impact.
Right.
And I think that the ceiling is really high for him. He's only going to keep growing and keep developing. And he's had a great spring training as well. So we're certainly really excited about Bobby.
Yeah.
The other player I would throw out there is Brian Mata, a big right-handed pitcher who looked great in Pawtucket last summer, and we'll see where and when we have him. But he's another guy that we'll definitely be keeping an eye on. I
think this is going to be an interesting year because AAA baseball a lot of times his teams are filled with what they call the 4A players who've been not quite good enough to make the majors but are not bad enough to be out of baseball. And but this bunch, the list that we went through and the couple you mentioned and some other ones, really reflects, I think, a really young, growing farm system. And I think it really makes this is a particular exciting team, I think, to watch. I mean, as a fan myself, I can really relate to this. This kind of excites me rather than seeing a bunch of I shouldn't say it, has-beens who aren't going to quite be there anymore. I won't name any names, but like guys like me.
But no, I mean, we think that's a testament to Chaim Bloom. I think in his short time with the Red Sox here, you've really seen him develop that farm system and replenish it in a lot of ways. So I think that's a real testament to him and our entire player development staff in Boston that's really gone out and scouted and developed a lot of these guys. So
well, let's just talk. I think that's a great introduction to the fans here. It'll be interesting if we replay this show a year or two from now and see how well we did with our picks here. I expect I'll be paying a lot more money to see these guys at Fenway than I might this summer in Worcester.
Yeah.
So let's just talk a little bit about tickets. And it's kind of a little confusing right now with the pandemic and the number of people you can let in, I guess. But this is March, and hopefully by July 4th, Joe Biden says we're all going to be having a picnic in the park together. So. I think there's great hope that this is going to ease up, and I've got my vaccine, and hopefully everybody else is getting theirs out there in TV land.
Well, congrats on your vaccine, Dave. We sure hope things will start to loosen up. All that we know is, had we started as scheduled in the month of April, we would have been at 12% capacity. So hopefully by our home opener on May 11th, we'll be able to see that number go up a little bit. Maybe we're at 25%. Who knows? We still don't quite know yet.
And they'll calculate that off the 10,000, not the 6,000?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're exactly right.
Yeah.
So 12% of 10,000, and so I think hopefully as the summer moves along and more people start to get vaccinated, hopefully those restrictions will loosen up a bit, and like Joe Biden said, maybe we'll all be having picnics in the park. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
So we talked about you have some how the ticket sales been going so far. I saw you almost sold out of. I think I see you almost sold out.
Yeah.
Of season tickets and special seats. And
Yeah, that's correct, Dave. We capped our full season ticket number. We've sold over 2,100 full season ticket plans, which we're just thrilled about. You know, in Pawtucket we had a little less than 1,000 season ticket holders. So the fact that we're in Worcester and we haven't even played a game yet, and we have over 2,000 season ticket holders, the response from the community has really just been overwhelming. And even if you're not a season ticket holder, we haven't put single game tickets on sale quite yet, but it's going to be incredibly affordable for families. You're going to have your $8 tickets, your $9 tickets, and as you saw from some of those photos, there's really not a bad seat in the house.
Right.
If you have standing room or general admission seats, you're still going to be right on top of the action. And when I say right on top of the action, a lot of that is because of how little foul ground there is.
Yeah.
We want fans to be right on top of the action. So we're really excited about that.
So will there be? You're going to? I assume you'll keep a certain number of seats for sale on game days and stuff like that, and probably be promoting to groups, I would imagine, as well. And
yeah, we certainly will. You know, a lot of it is going to depend on some of the state guidance we receive, and just knowing how many fans that we will be able to put in place. But certainly we want to go after those. Those
if there's only 2,500 people, will that be the 2,500 season ticket holders, or?
We have again a little over 2,100 season ticket holders.
Yeah.
So those are things that we'll sort out once we actually have the guidance. But we certainly want to make fans feel safe when they're at the park. And if we need to come up with a socially distanced plan based on the numbers that we're given from the state, we certainly will. And
we have another picture of the park, I think, just to put up here to talk about a little bit as we kind of begin to think about wrapping this up. Are you going to be televising any of the games, or?
Yeah. All of our games are going to be on radio, and we're actually going to have a lot of games on Nesson too. So look out for our Nesson schedule, which we're hopefully going to announce sometime in April. Nesson's told us that they want to cover a bunch of games at Polar Park.
Right.
So a lot of our games will be on TV.
And you mentioned the Booster Club. How does one join that?
It's free. You just go online to Woosox.com.
WOOSOX.com.
Yep, and it's the best way to stay up to date on all of the news, all the team news. I mentioned Chaim Bloom joined us a couple weeks ago.
I think we got one more photo coming up here. Oh yeah, okay. That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty skyline right there.
The heart of the city, the heart of the Commonwealth.
Exactly right.
Well, Joe, it's been great having you back, even though not much has happened in the last year. But seriously, you guys have done a tremendous amount of work, and it's just so exciting. I just personally can't wait to get to some games and have a chance to see people there that I might know, and try to encourage other people from Framingham to come down there. So I'm going to talk out to all the sports fans in Framingham to get down and see some of these guys play this year. This is going to be a lot of fun, and come back and watch Fan to Fan on Framingham Access TV and whatever Access TV station this happens to pop up onto. Thanks so much for joining us, and let's all get back to baseball.
Thanks, Dave. Go Woosox.
Go Woosox.